Hi, everyone. My name is Yosh, and I'm a perfumer based in Los Angeles. Uh, I design fragrances for my own brand called Yosh, which is also my name. I also am the creative director at Scent Trunk, which is a perfume publisher, and I'm also the producer of Digital Scent Festival. I have created lots of fragrances for myself and other clients, and I've hosted lots of different events with flavors, with perfumes, with tastings, including the Jewish Contemporary Museum in San Francisco. And we're really excited for this evening's Scent plus Shavuot. And I've joined at the moment with Sid Buffman in Colorado. Hi, Sid.
Hi, Yosh. Hi, everybody. I'm Sid Buffman. I'm a perfumer, a clinical herbalist, and graphic designer. I started Sid Botanica, my company, in 2015, making handmade incense. Incense making was my gateway into working with scent creatively. Last year, I worked on perfumery commissions for design institutions such as the Stanford D School and CodaWorks. In addition to my artistic work, I'm also the art director at Scent Trunk, a perfume publishing house, as Yosh mentioned. We work there together. And I'm also a co founder of the Coalition of Sustainable Perfumery. I have a three-pillar approach to my creative work that includes deep connections and influences in psychology, science, and spirituality. Ethnically, I'm Ashkenazi Jewish, but I was not raised with the Jewish religion as a part of my daily life. I, of course, have many Jewish relatives in New York and in other places on the East Coast. As an adult, I longed for a deeper connection to my heritage and found some access to that spirituality through studying Kabbalah, the Tree of Life, and ancient scent recipes. And as Yosh mentioned, I'm currently living in Boulder, Colorado, but I plan to move to Los Angeles at the end of July.
Wonderful. What we're going to do today is celebrate Shavuot. We're super excited. I personally also, because I have done many, many events around the world in person and virtually, celebrating the different ways we can ceremonialize or ritualize and celebrate various holidays, and celebrate how we can bring those kind of mystical, spiritual things into everyday practical life. And I particularly love this holiday because it's all about bringing the outdoors inside. Shavuot originally was an agricultural holiday celebrating the fruits like figs, the wheat harvest, but we're not farmers anymore. I'm certainly not. But I have a garden. Well, my mom and my aunt have a garden, so I was able to bring some of those materials inside. And again, it's really to commemorate this miracle that happened on Mount Sinai when Moses received the Torah. And so the imagery is you're in an arid desert, and then suddenly it's just blossoming like a miracle. And I think for us, for me particularly, it's the moment of divine communication, and the garden, the fruits, and fragrance is a way to continue that communication with spirit. And in fact, Sid's got an interesting factoid about what perfume means through the tradition of incense.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, incense is a passion of mine. It was my gateway into scent art and eventually as a perfumer. The word perfume means through smoke in Latin. So incense was the original perfume, right? It's a very, very, very ancient tradition. And so I wanted to share a special incense blend for my collection. It's called God's Smile, but it's also known as ketoret, which just means incense in Hebrew. And this is an incense blend based on a recipe that's outlined in the book of Exodus. And I'm going to read you a little bit about this blend. So God's Smile is an incense blend made by monks of the Coptic desert monasteries in Egypt. The recipe has not changed since their foundation in 350 AD, and even then, it was an ancient formula based on the sacred incense described in the book of Exodus. Here's the passage it comes from. And the Lord said to Moses, take unto thee spices, stocte, and onycha, galbanum of sweet savor, and the clearest frankincense. All shall be of equal weight, and thou shalt make incense compounded by the work of the perfumer, well tempered together, and pure, and most worthy of sanctification. So I've probably just said a bunch of ingredients that you've never heard of before. So I would like to speak a little bit about what some of those things actually are. So stocte is an ingredient that is not entirely agreed upon by historians, but they believe that it's probably a species of myrrh. You've probably heard of myrrh before. It's a resin. It comes from a tree. It's related to frankincense. And it's really earthy, minerally smelling. It has these kind of deep raisiny notes to it. They believe that stocte was probably prepared with another resin called benzoin, which is this sort of cream-colored, pinky cream-colored resin. It comes from the Benjamin tree. And it's very vanillic smelling. So I can see those two things going really nicely together. Galbanum is a green umbelliferous plant. It's an important ingredient in this recipe. It smells like an ancient forest floor. It's beautiful. It also smells like, has these like green snapped stems kind of smell to it. I didn't like this smell at first. It took me a while, but now I absolutely love it. It smells ancient. Onycha is another ingredient in this list that's still debated. So onycha is the name for, it means fingernail in Greek. And so when this recipe was translated from Hebrew into Greek, that was the name that it was given. Onycha means fingernail. And so it's it's called the operculum of sea snails. It's the shell that goes on the foot of the snail that shuts their shell. And it has a scent. It smells very musky, powdery, a little salty, oceanic. But that is not what scholars believe is actually in this blend. They think it's probably labdanum, which is a sticky resin that comes from the cistus plant. I love this smell. It's just beautiful. It's ambery, earthy. It also smells very ancient. It has been used forever as herbal medicine. In ancient times, it was collected by letting livestock like goats and sheep walk through the cistus plants, and then they would comb out the resin with these special combs. And in some places, they still do this. They have special tools to capture the resin. It's beautiful. And of course, last but not least, frankincense. And as it's spoken about, the clearest frankincense is probably what I believe to be Boswellia sacra, this is like premium, super nice frankincense. It's like, it smells almost a little green, and it smells like a green beam of light. It's just beautiful. It's just, yeah, my favorite. Unfortunately, it's endangered. It's not fully endangered. It's threatened at the moment due to global warming and overharvesting. So if you are a frankincense fan, I would recommend using that very sparingly, or, not consuming it as much. So how was this resin? I lost it. So how was this resin used? And it's funny, after smelling all of these things and coming back to it, I can sort of pick out the different aspects of it. But this resin would have been broken up and burned on a censer like this, over top of a lit charcoal that you put on here like so. And this this resin was this incense blend was famous because it would burn in a single column, and that was like the hallmark of its purity. Yeah, do you like to burn incense, Yosh?
Yes, in fact, I have some incense burning right now, and I have a more modern version. It's actually a temple blend that I'm burning from my aunt's house, and I imagine it has similar ancient spice qualities, and that's really the intent of this ceremony to celebrate Shavuot is to bring the ancient customs forward to today, right? So if you don't have access to the beautiful frankincense, to the beautiful myrrh, what you can do is bring the outdoors in. So, for example, I've cut some roses, which is mentioned in the Torah, and with Ruth, roses and also lily of the valley. So, in fact, I have a fragrance that I've made called Sotile, which has rose and lily of the valley. And what I love about this fragrance is that it's gender neutral. So I love when men wear floral fragrances. And I also think that it's, bringing scent onto the body is a way to communicate with God and also to give space between you and the person that, well, you can't talk to them now in person because we're supposed to be sheltering. But as things open up, having that aura of scent is really beautiful. And another ritual that I like to bring into modern times is just making whatever you have at home into a water. So I have some lemons from the garden, which, it sounds so simple, but really just adding a little bit of lemon to your water just brightens it, freshens it, and literally, I mean, that was a pretty big wedge, but just having that lemon brings the outdoor in. I'm a big fan of ginger. I'm not going to stick this whole thing in there, but that's a really nice pairing, lemon and ginger. You can also, I've got some chamomile, I've got some licorice, and really, when you think about bringing the outdoors in, it really is just meant to harmonize us with nature, a way to remind ourselves that that communication with God is every day. It doesn't have to be this separate thing. We don't have to go on a big mountaintop to have that conversation with God. What rituals do you have in the house?
In terms of bringing the outdoors in, I don't have a super extensive garden, but I do have some mint growing outside that I like to crush up and put in my water, or just smell when I need a little energy boost.
Great. Well, so just to recap, celebrating Shavuot is to bring the outdoors in, and you can use beautiful ancient aromas that you've, for example, if you wanted to study more, because this holiday is also about studying the Torah all night long, you can look for references. The Velveteen Rabbi is another great resource that we found, and bringing garden clippings into the inside and bringing forth the fruits, putting it in your water. And, like right now, when life throws you lemons, make some lemonade. And also, life can still be a bowl of cherries. Again, I'm Yosh. I'm a perfumer in Los Angeles, and I'm joined by.
I'm Sid Buffman. I'm a perfumer in Boulder, Colorado. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.